Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for everybody who is tuning in to this conversation. We welcome you. And through the links that we've given through the links that we've given, please follow that link if you wish to join into this conversation. We are looking at grassroots organizing, especially at the diaspora, organizing diaspora grassroots organization for right African Renaissance. With us also we have Her Excellency, the Honorable Ketura of the State of the African Diaspora. She will be sharing more on the state of the African diaspora, after which she will also give green light to organizing for action. So I urge if each and every one of us, should you have any question, feel free to post it at the comment section, and also you can give us a call directly if you have any burning question. So feel welcome, and I hope we're going to have a pretty well conversation as we are proceeding with this broadcast. Yes, so Honorable Ketura, I'll be referring to you as Honorable Ketura in this section. How are you, and how are you doing in Gambia?
Oh, we are doing fine, thank you very much. We are managing the situation. So we are managing the situation. Thank you.
With the lockdown, the COVID-19 issue now, how is the general situation over there?
Sorry, could you repeat the question, please, Jehoshaphat? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I was just referring to the pandemic that has now crippled the world. How are you coping with the COVID-19 situation over there?
Oh, yes. The situation here is stable. It's very much stable. So we are still on alert, but we are not so restricted in our movements. So everything seems to be going normally. People are going to work, they're going to the market. So I think it's business as usual.
Wow, that's beautiful. Good news to hear there. Now, first and foremost, what connected us together is the state of the African diaspora. Many people in my interaction with a bunch of guys from the diaspora do not really know what the state of the African diaspora is all about. Would you just take a good time to give a presentation and speak to us about the state of the African diaspora, its mission, its mandate, and what it is there to achieve? And prettily, it's a new concept that is getting to the people. Perhaps you can also share its affiliation with the African Union, and also as at when it came into operation. Over to you.
Are you hearing me? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Oh, okay, thank you. I lost you for a second. Okay, thank you so much, Jehoshaphat. My name is Ketura Amwakung, the Vice Prime Minister and Minister of Repatriation of the State of the African Diaspora. The State of the African Diaspora came into being in 2014, essentially when our current Prime Minister, Louis-Georges Tin, he attended the African Union Summit in Mauritania and sat with the President Aziz, who was the African Union chair at the time. And he said, you know, the sixth region has been constituted in the African Union for the diaspora to effectively participate. And he was seeking support from President Aziz to give a structure and form to the sixth region of Africa. So the President Aziz gave him his full backing and the mandate to give a structure to the sixth region. And as you know, there are there are 6 regions of Africa: North Africa, South Africa, East Africa, West Africa, Central Africa, and the 6th region of Africa is the African diaspora. And this is the region by which Louis Georges Tin has created a government called the State of the African Diaspora. It consists of a prime minister, of course. It consists of ministers, parliamentary members, and ambassadors. And its function is to connect Africa to the diaspora and the diaspora to Africa. We are a state without borders, which means we are a virtual government. We are not in the classical sense a territory for now, because we don't have, we're not in the classical sense a government because we don't have a territory, but that will come. However, for now, we are a virtual government, and to have diplomatic relations with other governments, so to recognize you as a government. So we have had the recognition as a government from Mauritania, and we've had it from Somaliland, and we've also recently had the recognition from Liberia. And we are awaiting recognition from South Africa, and also in terms of the 6th region, many people are not familiar with the 6th region. So the 6th region is the African diaspora from the historical Atlantic slave trade officially. And then you have the other wave of diaspora, which is the economic continental diaspora that have left Africa voluntarily to pursue, education and economic transatlantic slave trade, are the ones that are officially referred to as the African diaspora. So hence, the 6th region is...
Allow me to interrupt a little bit. Would you face the camera? We want really to see your face. You're giving us your back in a second. I'm saying the audience are not able to see your face, so perhaps if you could face the camera, we'd appreciate.
Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, is that better? I'm just...
Yeah,
I have to stand in a certain position to get a signal, so I don't lose you.
Oh, all right, but that is better now. That is better. Okay. Essentially, is more than 355 million diaspora outside of Africa. So what's happened is that not everybody in the diaspora wants to be connected to Africa. Not everybody wants to be seen as an African. So what we've had to do is to create an economic community of the 6th region. And the reason why we have done that is to fit nicely in with the other regions, the regional economic communities on the African continent. So, for example, you have ECOWAS. ECOWAS, as you know, is the 14 countries in the West African states. You also have SADC, which is the South African countries, Botswana, South Africa, Eswatini. They are an economic community. You also have the East African community, Tanzania, Tanzania, Uganda, Kenya, and so on. So to fit nicely into that, we have created the economic community of the 6th region. And to participate and be actively participate in being in the economic community, we have created an ID card so that you can be affiliated and work with the state and work within in the economic community in connecting Africa to the diaspora and the diaspora to Africa. So that Citizens ID card was launched yesterday for Africa Day, and happy Africa Day to everybody. And that is live for everybody to apply
for their citizens' ID card of ECO6, the economic community, and also you'll be a citizen of the state of the African diaspora. Did you want to ask any questions before I continue?
Yes, perhaps you could you could share with us how one can get the idea where the application can be made and can be done, so that those who wish to be members of the state of the African diaspora can do so. As you answered that question, you talked about the recognition. Is the state of the African diaspora recognized also by the body like the African Union, the United Nations? And of course, you mentioned that it's already recognized by Somalia, Liberia, and South
Hello,
Africa.
sorry, I've lost you for a second. I've lost your question.
Okay, let me just go one by one. You said that the state of the African diaspora is a stateless, is a borderless state. Now, what does it take for the state of the African diaspora to be recognized by the governments and other African countries? For example, you've said that it's already recognized by Somalia, Liberia, and South Africa. What does it take for other governments to recognize it? Number two, is it recognized by the African Union and the United Nations?
Okay, so your first question is, as I mentioned, that to be recognized as a state, you have diplomatic relations with other states and countries. So we have at the moment 3 confirmed. We also have the the sovereign nation of Accompong Maroons in Jamaica. They're not a country in themselves, but they are a sovereign nation. So we have 4. And when we have between 5 and 10, we are officially then, a diplomatic government, because we have diplomatic relations with other countries. And that diplomatic relations will come with us having an MOU with the particular government and offering them projects that the state is undertaking. For instance, the telemedicine, which is very good now for the virus situation, where people can actually have some medical advice via their smartphone, where if you're in the village and you can't get to a doctor immediately, you can actually have a consultation on your mobile phone via the telemedicine project. We also have the commodity exchange, which is another wonderful initiative for a government to undertake for their agricultural sector, which is that the commodity exchange alleviates the middleman when discussing prices for goods. For instance, if you have cocoa, for your farming cocoa, and another and says, well, this is the price I'm going to pay for your cocoa, and they are the middleman, and they get a very low price, and then they sell it in their country, they manufacture it for a very high price. So what the commodity exchange does is that it connects the farmer directly with the buyer in the foreign country, so that there is no middleman. So many African governments, they like this concept. And these are the initiatives that we offer on the table to the governments to create the diplomatic ties. And
thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much. I would really like that you expound on the commodity exchange. Is it limited only to the governments, or the state of the African diaspora could also work with societies and farming cooperatives? Because as it is now,
so.
Yeah, for example, I'm in Kenya right now, and we've had issues with the coffee farmers really crying foul that the middlemen are giving them raw deal, taking over all the profit, but leaving them in poverty.
Exactly. And this is the exact thing we need to alleviate and to address. And I believe for now it's in the West African states. We are going to make it an Africa-wide initiative. And exactly, it is for the local farmers to create cooperatives. So it's more difficult to target one individual farmer to say, join the commodity exchange. It's better that they create their cooperatives. So many farmers in their region or in their area, they come together, they form that cooperative, and that cooperative then interfaces with the commodity exchange rather than an individual farmer, because we want the wealth to be spread amongst all the people, rather than just and essentially one farmer may not produce the amount of say cocoa to be able to trade effectively. But if you are a cooperative and you create like 5 tons, then you can effectively name your price for your goods. And I just wanted to quickly answer your second. I just want to quickly answer your second question, which was about whether the African Union has recognized the state of the African diaspora.
Yes, and the United Nations also.
Okay, so the United Nations have not recognized the state. The African Union have, as I said, they mandated that the 6th region of Africa is the diaspora. They have mandated that. Now, like I said, we have grafted out of the 6th region is the economic community. And this is what we are bringing to the table, the economic community of the 6th region. And when we bring the economic community to the table of the African Union, the state of the African diaspora is a member state of the economic community. We are a member state of the 6th region. So we have 2 levels of lobbying for the African Union. They know of us, they have heard of us. Our ambassador in Ethiopia, she has presented comprehensive documents from the state that we have and presented it to the relevant person in the African Union. So they are very much aware of us. And we are due to have a summit in Addis Ababa in 2021, right inside the African Union building, we hope, and to present ourselves, the economic community, and to sit down and really discuss how the economic community is an effective partner now in the African Union and take up seats, because there are seats in the African Union for the diaspora, and how we can effectively now take up seats in the African Union so that the 6th region or the economic community has a voice at the African Union level.
Thank you so much for that great input. Straightforward, moving to the issue that we wanted us to discuss today, that is organizing diaspora grassroots organizations for action. There is this statement that you did say that we have so many Africans in the diaspora, but not all the Africans in the diaspora would wish to be connected to the continent. My question is, which models do we have? Do we have as the state of the African diaspora in connecting our brothers and sisters in the diaspora to the continent, and taking into account that there are those that we've interacted with, that is the Black Americans or the Anglo-Africans or Franco-Africans who do not associate themselves to the continent.
So in terms of the ones that do not wish to associate themselves with the continent, I think that's their choice, and I think we should allow them their choice and work with the ones that do see that Africa is their home and they have a longing to come back home. and these are the people we are facilitating as a state. So the state is the vehicle by which an ordinary person can actually now participate in the economic community of the sixth region and participate through the state with their ID card to get engaged with our programs of action and also be able to participate in the African Free Trade Agreement. In terms of the organizations, again, I came from a grassroots organization background for many years, and we are galvanizing as many as we possibly can, organizations to come under the umbrella of about to set up an ECOSOC arm of ECO6, just like the African Union have their ECOSOC arm. We will have one for the sixth region, where all the organizations can participate. And the State of the African Diaspora will have available funding for the organizations that come together under the economic community, and they are citizens of the State of the African Diaspora. We will fund collective projects. We want the organizations to work together collaboratively on projects in the diaspora and in Africa to be more effective. So rather than what we're seeing is organizations are very separate. They're very much doing their own thing. And what we are encouraging is that you come under the umbrella of the sixth region, work together as a cooperative of organizations, and have specific projects that, common projects that all of the organizations tend to have the same idea. So rather than work on an idea separately, let's work on it collectively. And this is what we're encouraging with the organizations to form, to come together under the economic community, to have their ID card, and to come to be on the ECOSOC arm so that we can fund ECOSOC for the organizations to manifest and implement collective projects.
Thank you so much. And now, today you are a special guest in this very noble topic of organizing for action. So perhaps you will take your good time and just to share with us how we can, how the diaspora can organize themselves to be connected to the continent, and how the continent can organize themselves at the grassroots levels to influence policies at the national levels, at the regional levels, and also at the international level. This is being with the backdrop that our governments and the African continent, as it stands now, we are really not able to negotiate at the continent, at the global arenas effectively, and prevail over decisions that are made by powerful governments across the globe. So take your time to maybe lecture us or conduct a seminar, whichever way you choose, on matter organizing grassroots organizations for action.
Okay, if I hear you well, he was cutting out a little bit. So if I hear you well, again, organizations are not going to get the ear of their governments. They're not going to get the ear, say, an organization in America, unless they're extremely powerful, having a massive membership to actually get the attention of an African country, unless they are bringing, like India or China, massive levels of investment. This seems to be the tune that the African governments, and probably any government per se, would want certain high levels of investment in their country, bringing roads, bringing railway, bringing infrastructure. And grassroots organizations don't have that level of finance, and they find it very difficult to even finance their own local projects. So hence why I was saying for grassroots organizations to be able to participate at a international, even a regional, international and global level, they have to come together. Just like farmers have to come together for their produce. Organizations that we are going to provide, as I said before, the ECOSOC arm, or if not the ECO, are now participating as a region of Africa. Your voice will then be heard, because that is the level by which the grassroots organizations need to raise their level of the mandates that they have, and do it collectively. That's the only way forward. And hence why the State of the African Diaspora, we have many partners, many collaborators, and many alliances. Why? Because we cannot do it alone. And grassroots organizations cannot do it alone individually. Hence why they should come together under one banner, if it be ECOSOC arm of the ECO6, or it's as the region of Africa, ECO6 economic community. So this is what we are encouraging. We have one of our ministers in Nigeria. He has created something called the African Hub. And the African Hub is very much as what I'm saying, is that he's calling all the organizations to come under a hub where they all come together and share and exchange ideas and effective ideas that can work in the diaspora and on the continent. The difference with us, with ECOSOC arm of our economic community, is that we will have funding for the organizations to really. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, you did answer my question very. You did answer my question very effectively and very well. Now, in terms of maybe just to go back to the state of the African diaspora again, the membership of the citizenship to the state of the African diaspora, is it open also to Africans in the continent? Can the citizens in the continent participate in the same?
Okay, so how the citizenship works is that essentially it's citizenship of the sixth region. And as we know, the sixth region is the African diaspora. Now, in terms of the economic migrant continental diaspora, it is open to continental diaspora, continental Africans, that are living in the diaspora. It is very much open to them, because they're our continental brothers and sisters that have not left the continent and have not lived in the diaspora. Unfortunately, it's not available to them, unfortunately. But it is available to the economic migrant continental Africans that can come and go and have lived in the diaspora.
All right. Now, would you share with us your wisdom on how the Africans in the diaspora can organize themselves and galvanize themselves at the grassroots levels, and also the Africans in the continent to organize and galvanize themselves at the grassroots levels, and at what point can they have an interaction, bearing in mind that one of the greatest missions for the state of the African diaspora is to connect the continent to the diaspora and the diaspora to the continent?
Yes, as I said, grassroots organizations now need to know each other, and they need to know each other and come together and sit at the table together. Their mandate has to be that they want to interface and to be productive on the continent. So those organizations that don't particularly want to do any projects in Africa and just want to stay local, then they should join together with the local organizations that want to stay within their remit, within their country, and work together that way. However, the ones who want to effectively participate on the continent, and some of the grassroots organizations are like one person, some of them are 2 people, some of them are 10 people. So you don't have enough effective resources to actually be effective in participating on the continent. And so cooperative economics is the name of the game for grassroots, small organizations that do not have the amount of finance required to effectively get a project on the ground, implement that project, ensure that people that are on the continent, for instance, are running a project on their behalf, that people can be paid a remuneration for their work. That's why I'm saying, cooperative economics is the only way forward for grassroots organizations. So essentially what I did, I started to look at all the organizations in my area. I contacted the head of all of them and I said, we all need to sit down at the table and come together collectively to work on common projects. So, if it's about, I don't know, if it was about creating maybe just a health center, and many of the organizations wanted to do that, then we come together to realize that project. So it's a matter of our grassroots organizations taking the responsibility to contact each other and to create this alliance or this unity to be able to participate effectively.
Oh, thank you so much for the great insights and the great input that you've given us today. I know you are in a country where internet connectivity is a problem, and you've done so well. At least you are not sure whether you are going to attend this due to internet connectivity, but I'm happy that you've been able to contribute to this. We're looking forward to having you more and more. Should we need any clarity on the state of the African diaspora? Should we need to learn more? Perhaps if you cannot attend in person, you can recommend somebody or else to be giving us the information, especially your ministers. Before I let you go,
Wonderful. And I'd just like to, okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah, before I let you go, you would also be able to give us your closing remarks. But before then, we have Mr. Peter in the background. Mr. Peter, do you have something to share with us, with the guest here, or any question to ask?
No, thank you, Josephat. I'm just happy to be here. I think this is a very good program going on since you started with the Center of African Volunteers. And it's really great to be here, seeing great people, hearing great words from them. And I'm just happy representing Hands of Peace Africa. But today I don't have anything like to say, but I think I'll just be attending, and then later on, maybe when I'll be having a schedule, I'll share some way forward on how Africa can actually move, because it is our problem that we have been seeing for years. And now is the time to change Africa for real, not just the talk that the politicians have been saying. Now we are not politicians. We need to do something for Africa. Thank you. Just what.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Peter. I'm glad that you are present here. So back to you, Her Excellency Ketura. Maybe you have more still to share with us, because the time is all just here.
Yes. So, did you want me to continue, or?
Yeah, I want you to continue.
Or did you want me to close now, or?
No,
okay. Thank you very much.
I don't want you to close here.
So I just wanted to also bring to the attention. Sorry, you wanted me to close?
No, I wanted to continue. I was saying that all that we wanted to know about the state of the African diaspora, for now we've exhausted. But now, as the chief panelist here, we were talking about grassroots organizing for action. You can talk more about that, and also still with the state of the African diaspora, whichever way you choose to go, we'll be happy to hear and get from you.
So let me, sorry, my battery's about to, let me move. Sorry, my battery is about to go. Okay, I've just plugged in my battery. I hope you can still see me.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, we can see.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
Hello,
you.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we
We can
can.
hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, hello. We're hearing.
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes,
Very
yes,
well,
yes, yes, yes.
yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Yeah. We are getting you clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Pretty well.
Can you hear me at all?
Yes, we can.
Mr. Peter, I think she's the one
Hello,
who's not
can
hearing
you
us. Huh?
No, I'm hearing you. I'm getting you loud and clear. I'm actually in
She's
the
in
city of Malindi. Yes. Oh, she's gone. I think
network
she was.
connectivity.
Yes.
It's because of network connectivity where she is. So, Mr. Peter, we were focusing today on organizing for action, organizing grassroots organizations for action, and the impact that they can have
Yes.
in bringing information and the change that we so need. Uh,
Yes.
how can we, according to you, how can we go about organizing grassroots organizations for effective actions? And do you have maybe some insights on how their impact can be greater in our country?
Yes. Do I have some insight on how young people can be trained on, please?
I'm saying we are looking at organizing for action, that is
Yes.
organizing grassroots organizations for effective
Yeah.
action. Do
Yeah.
you have some insights on how we can organize ourselves, or on how communities can organize themselves, and the impact that can have in our continent and in our country?
Yes, I think we need to start by knowing where we are right now, because if we start by knowing what problems Africa has, and then we think of how to solve these problems, and then we look at the organizations, so that brings us to the organizing. So the organizations that are in Africa which are interested in doing what we are doing, so the like-minded organizations, and then we can even work together under an umbrella. So if we come up with an umbrella, and then this umbrella becomes one, so we have representatives. If it is in Kenya, we can be thinking of maybe 47 counties. We go county by county. And then if it is outside Kenya, we go with country to country. But so when we are having country to country, we are going to be talking about how many organizations are from a given country. And then we go to the African Union, so that we can be having something like the African Union, the youth wing, which is going to be concerned with solving these problems we have identified. I think that way we can do something.
Wow,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you so much. And
yes,
we are in the celebration of the African Week, and this conversation is being streamed in different platforms, including the United States of America, with the
yeah,
Nubian Initiative.
yeah.
So perhaps you can also share with us briefly about the Hearts of Peace Africa in 5 minutes. But just before then, Honorable Ketura is back, and I think she has an issue with the connection. So let us bring her back just to so that she can say her last words before we release her to go.
It's okay. Thank you.
Honorable Ketura, are you back?
Did she come back?
Yeah, she's back though. Her screen is dark.
So she's speaking fast, all right? Then I'll pick it from there. Yeah, good.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
sure.
Uh,
Yeah, so Honorable Ketura, sorry, you have issues with the battery, with the connection. So perhaps we bring you back at your own pleasure, just to give your closing remarks before we let you go. Are you there, Honorable Ketura?
yes, yes, sir.
Can you, Honorable Ketura, can you hear us? Hello, Honorable Ketura, can you hear us? Can you hear me?
Hello, Jahos, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
we can hear you. We can hear you. Please
Can
just,
you hear me very
proceed,
well?
giving your closing remarks and you
Hello?
wanted to share. Yes. Yes, we can hear you pretty well.
Hello,
We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Hello, hello.
We can hear you. Would you just proceed with the conversation?
Okay, thank you. I just, before I sign off, I wanted to address that how our continental brothers and sisters can participate with the African diaspora. We are actually issuing, we have many kings, queens, and traditional leaders as our partners of the state. And what we are doing, the initiative we have with the kings and queens and traditional leaders is that we are creating kingdomship membership or kingdomship. That means any African diaspora that wishes to settle in a country where we have a partnership with a king. The king is actually giving us land, and the diaspora who wish to settle in that land will be issued with the of that kingdom. Now,
Hello. Hello, Josephat.
Honorable Ketura.
Yes, Josephat. Hello.
Yes, I think we lost. Hello, Mr. Peter. We lost again, but I also cannot see you.
Oh,
So
no,
as we
you can see me. Okay, right. I'm
close,
back. Just look at me again. I'm here.
all right. So yeah, so as we are moving to a close, just take a few minutes to share with us the Hands for Peace Africa, your objectives, what you are doing, and perhaps how you wish to work with us and the extended family of the African diaspora, and also the general philanthropists in the networks of Center for Africa Volunteers.
Thank you. Hands of Peace Africa, HOPA, is an organization that's a national NGO registered and incorporated with
Put
the
your camera
NGO. Yes?
Mr. Peter, put your camera well. We want to see your face. We are not able to see your face properly. So position your camera well.
Oh yeah.
Thank you. That's okay. That's cool.
All right. Is this now? Right. Is it fine now?
Yeah, that is
Yes.
okay now.
Yeah, I was just
That
saying.
is fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hands of Peace Africa is a
Yes.
national NGO incorporated at the NGOs Coordinations Board, and what we are doing is basically we are interested in Africa attaining a lasting peace for the continent, and that peace is a peace that begins at home. So it is a peace at home, peace within the community, and then peace within the society and the entire African continent. And so, how do we achieve peace? We achieve peace through ensuring that there is equity in resource allocation, that is economic empowerment. There is peace through education, because when we educate our citizens, our children, it means that they are acquiring education for economic emancipation. And after education, we are talking about our environment. So if we have good environment, that means safety in our surrounding, because like currently, the problem we are going through in the country, a lot of flooding in Kisumu, Lake Victoria has overflown its shores, and many rivers are actually flooding today and with landslide. So these are as a result of environmental degradation. And so if we take care of our environment today, then it means we are going to have a secure future, and future which is secure is a direct result of peace. Um, Another thing we are looking at is um, democratization of Africa. So we are talking about democratic processes within the African continent based on good governance. So if we have good governance, it means that the leaders we are going to have in Africa will be leaders who are accountable to the people. They will be
Yes.
responsible. They will not be the corrupt leaders we have seen time and again. And so with that, Africa will actually grow and become a continent just like any other continents that we have around in the world, which are very successful. So that is basically what Hands of Peace Africa does. We want to acquire and achieve peace for Africa and a lasting peace, but through the 5 core areas of program activities. Thank you, Josphat.
Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. Just once again, before you pause,
Yeah.
in Hands for Peace Africa, which opportunities do you have for collaboration and working with people of the like-minded individuals, both in the continent and out of the continent?
Yes, we have a lot of opportunities, though they are in the pipeline, because currently we are doing a school back in Migori County, knowing that we are talking about education as a key component to attaining peace. So we are prioritizing peace, education. So what we are doing currently, we are putting up a school, and in the school, we would need volunteers to come help us teach, and we are going to teaching for life, not teaching for employment, teaching for life. So
I
we
see.
teach skills. So we need people who can teach music, people who can teach foreign languages, people who can teach
Uh-huh.
technology, and we are
Yes.
going to host them as they come, and we teach, and as others go, others come back. That is like they will be coming in shifts. So we have opportunities, and it is even unfortunate I didn't mention about health. Of course, good health is also one of our program activities, because I said we are talking about 5 areas. So it is education and it is health. So in the health, we will just be going around, as now today, the whole world is under the weight of COVID-19. And so also health, we are going around, mobilizing community. We are coming together and forming these groups and working with the community around, and letting people know what they should do to stay healthy. So we have lots of opportunities, and we will be giving them as time goes.
All
Yes.
right. Thank you so much, Mr. Peter. I'm glad that you came in. It's glad that when we come together, great things are bound to happen. And I believe that this is just the beginning point of our working together with the partners that we have to make greater meaning to our content. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Josephat.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yes.
ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful that you tuned in for today. The program is still ongoing, and under this very platform, we are going to have Professor Piero Lumumba joining this conversation later in the hour. Kindly stay tuned, and we are happy that you are able to participate in this great conversation, Organizing for Action. Shalom.
Thank you.